Welcome to the long-range forecast for you as a Gemini, taking you through to the end of August 2017. This month of August sees an exciting and rare total solar eclipse make landfall on the US mainland. And as it arrives, it loosely forms a wonderfully supportive grand trine with retrograde Saturn and Uranus. And with Venus moving opposite Pluto in T-square with Jupiter, itself the focus of several triangles formed as Saturn trines with the Sun and Mars, even Mercury turning retrograde will find it hard to spoil this celestial party. Now here is a forecast that Jonathan recorded that will help guide you through these events.
It is not necessary to see an eclipse of the Sun in order to feel its impact, nor is it necessary to be born under the signs which are traditionally associated with the Sun and the Moon. Because of the power of the eclipse, because of its symbolic significance, it will have an impact all over the planet, even in places where people can't see it at all, even in places where people aren't looking. It's certainly having an impact on you in places that you can't see at all and that you don't necessarily want to look for. And yet, whether you like it or not, issues are being raised, factors are coming to the surface which require you to look, to understand something, to reach a new level of appreciation of your own potential, and to recognise something too about the plans, the ideas, the expectations which you've held dear in the past and which no longer make quite so much sense. An eclipse is about an ending. It's about something reaching its final stage so that something else can be born in the process that moves on from there. It's a very hopeful, a very cleansing, a very inspiring process. And there's a very hopeful, helpful, cleansing, inspiring process taking place in your life now. But maybe you don't yet see it that way, and maybe it's going to take you the next few weeks to really get a grip on what's happening and to really get an insight into it. Maybe what you think is happening at the moment is that your big idea, your great plan, your chief aspiration is somehow being called into question. More than being called into question, it's being shown to be less than you hoped it would be or thought it should be. And so you feel disappointed. And so you feel somehow robbed or cheated or let down or frustrated or thwarted by forces and circumstances beyond your control. And so there is this feeling of, well, now what do I do? Because life is not proceeding in the way that I wanted it to do, and nor does it seem that any of my attempts to control my situation are meeting very much success, and there's chaos where there ought to be order, and there's disruption where there ought to be peace and tranquility, and there's a definite feeling in me that life is just not moving in the right way. If I were a different kind of astrologer, I might sympathise with you greatly here and say, never mind, soon it'll make it all go in the right way again. But, it's not quite that way in life. And sometimes, when things aren't going right for us, quote unquote, that's the most right thing about them. That's what's good about them. And what's not going well for you now, what seems to be wrong, what seems to be causing so many questions and problems and difficulties for you is perfect. Because it's obliging you to question something that has long needed to be questioned. It's as if there's a dictator, an authority figure, some character, some aspect of your personality which has told you, nattered away in your ears for years and said, well, you can't do this and you mustn't do this and you'd better do that and you'd better plan this and you'd better work in this way and you'd better avoid that. And you have subserviently taken your orders. And in the process, you have erected boundaries and reasons why you cannot move in directions which it would suit you greatly to move in. You have established obstacles and allowed them to dominate your life. And so now there is this feeling of being thwarted, but actually it's a necessary precursor to a feeling of being free, a feeling of finding your own true level, a feeling of understanding what really works in your life and why, and feeling proud of that and pleased with it. There are amazing changes due to unfold soon. Don't get caught up in the day-to-day detail. Don't worry about where your money's coming from or going to. Don't worry about who loves you and who doesn't. All that's going to sort itself out. You focus now on which direction you want to take your life in. Not which direction you can take your life in or which direction you feel you ought to take your life in, but what direction you want to take your life in.